In this video we are going to start CompTIA Plus Core 1 course, and this is already for the new exam which was released in 2025. So the exam code is, as you can see here, CompTIA Plus Core 1 220-1201. So let's start with very first practice test and let's get into it. And first question is, a user reports that their internet speed is much slower than expected. What is the first troubleshooting step? Reinstall the operating system, run a speed test, replace the router, disable the firewall, or lower the monitor brightness. And by the way guys, to follow this video or these videos, grab a piece of paper and write down how many questions you get right and how many questions you get wrong, because these are already questions for the newest, latest updated CompTIA Plus Core 1 exam. And also I would highly recommend any of you guys who are taking CompTIA Plus or Core 1 or Core 2 or Network Plus or Security Plus, do these practice tests or do these quizzes for yourself, and you must do at least 700 to 1000 of these quiz questions before you take the real exam to get the feel of this exam for yourself. Otherwise, most likely you will not be able to pass this exam. And if you look around on YouTube, even you can see that all those people, even me myself, I have a CompTIA Plus Core 1, I passed it also. I have CompTIA Network and many other of these CompTIA certifications myself guys, and every time I take these exams I always do at least 1000 questions before I take some exam. This is just a study guide, study tip for you guys who are starting out, as CompTIA is obviously one of the first certifications you will take. So which one would be here the correct answer? And the correct answer here is run a speed test. And here is explanation. Running a speed test helps determine if the issue is with the ISP or internet service provider or local network configuration. And next question, a technician is configuring a home network. What is the best encryption protocol for securing Wi-Fi? WEP or WEP, AES-128, VPA3, Open Network, or 802.1x. So what will be the best protocol for securing your Wi-Fi? And here the correct answer is VPA3, as this is the latest protocol. Whenever you are setting a home router, you would use VPA3 if it is supported by your device, as VPA3 provides the highest level of encryption and security for wireless networks. And next question, a user wants to upgrade their desktop to improve gaming performance. What component should they upgrade first? So if you are building a gaming PC and you would like to upgrade it, and which would be the most important component to upgrade for a gaming PC? Graphics card, CPU, hard drive, Wi-Fi adapter, or optical drive? And obviously for gamers, for gaming, that would be graphics card. For gaming, the GPU or graphical processing unit, in other words that is a graphics card, has the biggest impact on performance. A technician replaces desktop motherboard. What must be done before booting into Windows? Reinstall all applications, check that all power and data connections are secure, change the administrator password, format the hard drive, or uninstall the antivirus software. So what would be the first? And the first action would be to check that all power and data connections are secure. Ensuring all components are properly connected prevents potential hardware issues. And next question, a user's mobile phone battery drains quickly. Which setting should be adjusted first to extend battery life? So if your mobile phone battery is draining, which settings you should adjust first to extend battery life on your mobile? Increase Bluetooth range, raise the screen resolution, use 5G instead of Wi-Fi, enable GPS tracking, or lower the screen brightness. So what would you do very first to save your battery power? And the correct answer here would be, and the most logical, as this is the most battery draining, is lower the screen brightness, as screens are always taking the most of the battery, as this is obviously one of the biggest components of the device, and screen brightness is one of the biggest battery drains on mobile devices. And next question, a user needs to print from a laptop to a shared office printer, but the printer is connected to another computer. What is the best solution? Move the printer closer to the laptop, use a USB to Ethernet adapter, reinstall the printer driver, restart the printer spooler service, configure the printer as a network printer. And by the way guys, if you are interested in more of these videos of these different tests on CompTIA, on Microsoft, on Cisco examinations, go to the channel's homepage, click on playlists, and there you will find many different playlists on different exams. And now back to the question. So what is the best solution here? And best solution here would be, in this scenario, configure the printer as a network printer, as network printers allow multiple devices to print without direct physical connections. And next question, a technician is troubleshooting a PC that is making a loud grinding noise. What is the most likely component causing this issue? And here you should know that the main two components on any PC which are making grinding noises are, one could be fan and another could be HD or hard drive, and this is physical hard drive, we are not talking here about SSDs. So a loose RAM module, a failing cooling fan or hard drive, an unstable GPU driver, a damaged motherboard, or a faulty HDMI cable. And here I already told you pretty much, the correct answer is a failing cooling fan or a hard drive, as mechanical components like fans and HDDs or hard disk drives can produce grinding noises when failing. And next question, a user's Wi-Fi keeps disconnecting randomly throughout the day. What is the most likely cause? A failing power supply, an outdated processor, a corrupted operating system, interference from nearby devices, or an external hard drive failure. So what is the most likely cause for random Wi-Fi disconnections? And here the correct answer is an interference from nearby devices, as wireless interference from devices like microwaves and other Wi-Fi networks can cause connectivity issues. And next question, a technician installs a new hard drive in a computer, but it does not appear in Windows Explorer. What is the best next step? And Windows Explorer, as you know guys, this is whenever you click on any folder, that is pretty much what opens your Windows Explorer. And there you go to the drives, and there you are not seeing. And here in this scenario, technician installs a new hard drive on computer, and when he goes to his drives like C drive or D drive or whatever drives are on that particular computer, that drive or hard drive is not appearing there. Similar could be like, for example, if you push in a USB drive into your computer and it is not appearing on your computer, as USB drives are also just another type of external hard drives. So here the answers are: replace the SATA cable, reinstall Windows, initialize the drive in disk management, flash the BIOS, or check the monitor connection, which would be the correct answer. And here, obvious or most logical answer would be initialize the drive in disk management. A new drive needs to be initialized and formatted before it appears in Windows. And next question, a user is experiencing slow performance when copying files to an external USB drive. What is the most likely reason? So, when you are copying files to an external USB drive, you are experiencing a slow performance. So pretty much those files are loading or downloading very slowly. And here the answer options are: the CPU is overheating, the USB port is USB 2 instead of USB 3.0. Here for your CompTIA A Plus exam you should also know USBs, you should know standards of USBs, download and upload speeds of USBs as well. The firewall is blocking file transfers, the monitor resolution is too high, or the RAM is faulty. So which one is the correct answer here? And here's the correct answer is the USB port is USB 2.0. And as you know guys, USB 2.0 has only 480 megabits per second transfer speeds, where with USB 3.0 you already, and further there are other versions or higher versions of USB 3, it starts with 5 gigabits per second. As you see, USB 2.0 has significantly lower transfer speeds compared to USB 3.0. And next question: a user needs to access the BIOS on their Windows 10 laptop, but it boots too quick to press a key. What is another way to access the BIOS? And by the way, for your CompTIA Plus Core 1 exam, you should know about Windows 7. As you can see in this question, it still refers back to Windows 10, so you should know about operating systems Windows 10 and Windows 11. And here the answer options are: unplug the power cord while booting, press Ctrl Alt plus Delete repeatedly, use the Windows Advanced Startup menu, or uninstall and reinstall Windows, or run check disk in the command prompt. And here the correct answer is use the Windows Advanced Startup menu, as the Advanced Startup menu allows access to UEFI firmware settings when the boot process is too fast. And next question: a user complains that their desktop PC does not detect their new NVMe SSD. What is the best troubleshooting step? Check BIOS settings for NVMe support, replace the motherboard, reinstall the operating system, update the USB drivers, or replace the network card. And here the correct answer is check BIOS settings for NVMe support, as some systems or some computers still don't have support for NVMe. And some BIOS configurations may require enabling NVMe support or changing the boot mode. And next question: a technician is setting up RAID 1 array. What is the primary benefit of this configuration? And as well, for your CompTIA Plus Core exam, no RAIDs: RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5 and RAID 10, and how they are different. So what is the primary benefit of this configuration for RAID 1? Redundancy, speed improvement, capacity increase, lower cost, or single drive operation. And the correct answer here is redundancy, as RAID 1 mirrors data across two drives, providing fault tolerance. A user reports that their laptop keyboard is typing numbers instead of letters. What is the most likely cause? A failing motherboard, numlock is enabled, a malware infection, a misconfigured firewall, a faulty power adapter. And whenever you are approaching questions and you don't know what is the correct answer, you could eliminate those answers which are most likely not the correct ones. And that is one thing when you look at the question. Here we are talking about reports that their laptop keyboard is typing numbers instead of letters. And for example, if we see a failing motherboard, we can understand straight away that it has nothing to do with motherboard, as motherboard is a physical technical part. It has nothing to do with making decisions. And we are looking at numlock is enabled, so this could be most likely answer. And here is malware infection, so this also most likely is not the correct answer, as malware usually slows down or breaks something, but it doesn't change really pretty much any functionalities. And then we have misconfigured firewall, which is also a protective measure of our computer systems. Then we are looking at faulty power adapter, which could also be which also has nothing to do with syncing or with functionality of our computers. This could affect most likely only whether our computer is able to function or it functions slower because there's not enough power on other similar causes. So here the most likely answer would be num lock is enabled, as enabling num lock on a compact keyboard can cause some letter keys to function as numerical keypad. And next question. A technician is installing new graphics card in a gaming PC. The PC powers on but does not display any video output. So, technician has installed a graphics card. PC is powers on but does not display any video output. What should be checked first? The CPU clock speed, the BIOS version, the hard drive partitions, power connections to the GPU, or the operating system settings. And here the most likely cause could be, or what we shouldn't check, is power connections to the GPU, as high-end GPUs require more power to be connected from motherboard. And as you can see here, the correct answer is high-performance GPUs often require additional power connectors from the PSU. And PSU is power supply unit on your PC. And next computer, a laptop's battery percentage suddenly drops from 80% to 15%. And the laptop shuts down shortly after. What is the most likely cause? So your battery was 80% and then it dropped to 15%. So what is the most likely cause? A misconfigured power plan, a failing battery, a slow Wi-Fi connection, a corrupt boot sector, or a failing CPU. And here logically or most likely cause could be a failing battery, as a sudden drop in battery charge typically indicates degraded or faulty battery. And next question. A company wants to provide wireless network access for employees and guests but keep them separate. So give wireless access to company workers or to company employees and to guests, and to keep these two Wi-Fi connections separate. What is the best way to achieve this? Using a single SSID for both employees and guests? Manually assign static IP address, disable DHCP for guests, set up a guest network with VLAN separation, or use MAC address filtering. And here the most logical answer would be to set up a guest network with VLAN separation or virtual local area network separation, as VLANs keep traffic separate, ensuring security between employee and guest networks. And another way how we can achieve this would be through subnetting, which we are not talking about here, but VLAN or virtual local area network is when on one particular switch you are simply separating the same, for example, network by creating two subnet networks. Or for example, what's the difference in VLAN and subnetting is that subnets are separated not on the same switch, but they are separated by using a router. And next question. A user reports that their desktop computer randomly restarts. A technician checks the event viewer and finds kernel power error. What is the most likely cause? A misconfigured firewall, a corrupted operating system, a failing power supply, a faulty USB device, or an outdated graphics driver. So which would be the most likely cause here? And the correct answer would be failing power supply, as failing PSU or power supply unit can cause random reboots due to unstable power delivery. And next question. A customer complains that their laptop gets extremely hot and sometimes shuts down unexpectedly. What is the most likely cause? So when your laptop is getting extremely hot and it shuts down unexpectedly, what would be the most likely cause from these answers? Dust buildup blocking airflow, a failing graphics card, a slow internet connection, a corrupted operating system, or an outdated BIOS. And here the correct answer would be dust buildup blocking airflow, as most likely that is nothing to do with a failing graphics card, as graphics card wouldn't shut down your computer, and a slow internet connection also has nothing to do with shutting down your computer. A corrupted operating system could be the problem of shutting down your computer, but then you would see different errors before it happens, and an outdated BIOS also is just for starting up a BIOS, and you would see probably some errors if that would be to do with a BIOS. And next question, a technician is troubleshooting a desktop computer that won't power on. The power cable is connected, but pressing the power button does nothing. What should be checked first? Motherboard BIOS settings, CPU thermal paste application, power supply switch position, monitor cable connection, or hard drive health. So, which would be the most appropriate answer here? And here the correct answer is power supply switch position, as if a PC does not power on at all, checking the power switch on the power supply is logical first step. And power supply is that box. If you have a PC, if you have a tower PC, you will see it straight away, and usually they have a switch, on and off switches, which you can turn on and off on them. And this doesn't really apply to laptops or mobile devices. And yes guys, this was the part 1 of this CompTIA A+ Core 1 questions practice test. If you are interested in more tests, like I mentioned under video, click on channel's name, which is TechWolf, and you will get redirected into the channel's homepage, where on channel's homepage you can click into playlists. Here, as you can see, currently we are in home. If you click in playlists, and there is playlist for old CompTIA A+. As you can see, this is this playlist, CompTIA A+ exam practice tests. These practice tests are for old CompTIA, Core 1 and Core 2 exam practice tests. And if you are interested in the latest ones, and which I will create the part 2 of this video, you will be able to find this in this playlist, which is CompTIA A+ 220-1201 exam practice test. Currently there are 4 videos already. With this video, this will be already 5th video in this playlist. And if you are interested to take practice tests for yourself, you can go to my Udemy courses, where I will leave a link in description and in first pinned comment of this video. And as you can see, I opened the Udemy account, and here I already added 6 different courses. And here, as you can see, very first one is CompTIA A+ 1201 practice exam questions, and there is 5 tests. Currently there is 270 questions, but this week I will add there more questions, and there will be 450 questions. This means that there will be 5 different tests, and each test will be 90 questions long, and these all questions will be related to the latest CompTIA A+ Core 1 exam. So if you are interested, you can go and take these tests. These are real practice tests which you can take in form of multi-choice questions if you click on this very first course, guys. So yes, and if you found this video useful, leave a like, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and see you in the next one.